In today's dramatic and unprecedented courtroom moment, former President Donald J. Trump abruptly stormed out of a federal civil trial during the closing arguments by the plaintiff's attorney, prompting audible gasps from the courtroom and an immediate response from the presiding judge, according to multiple reports as closure began. In the high-profile defamation lawsuit filed by writer E Jean Carroll, where she's seeking more than $24 million in compensatory damages for reputational harm, Trump rose from his seat during Lewis Kaplan's closing argument and quickly exited the courtroom, with Secret Service agents closely following behind him. The federal Judge Lewis Kaplan briefly interrupted the proceedings to say on the record, "The record will reflect that Mr. Trump just rose and walked out of the courtroom," a statement captured on official transcripts and referenced in news coverage of the event. Trump's departure occurred only minutes after Judge Kaplan had warned Trump's attorney, Alina Habba, that she was on the verge of spending some time in the lockup for continuing to speak after being told she was finished, a public rebuke that set the tone for the explosive moment that followed. To understand why this was so significant, we need to zoom out and look at the context of this trial and Trump's courtroom behavior. This lawsuit stems from allegations that Trump defamed E Jean Carroll by branding her a liar after she accused him of sexual assault allegations he denies and has called false accusations. During the trial, Trump was briefly on the witness stand for less than 3 minutes, repeatedly pressured by Judge Kaplan to stick to permitted testimony and told to stop interrupting proceedings, illustrating how tightly controlled and tense this courtroom environment had become. The moment Trump walked out didn't happen in a vacuum. Earlier in the day, he had appeared agitated, vigorously shaking his head during opposing counsel's comments, and the trial had already seen multiple objections, warnings, and escalating tensions between Trump's defense and the court's decorum standards. This wasn't simply a break or recess, it was a calculated exit in the middle of critical arguments captured by multiple sources reporting on the scene. Some have asked, was Trump permitted to leave? And the answer is yes, technically he was, in civil trials, especially ones where attendance isn't compulsory for the defense at every moment. A defendant may exit as long as it doesn't disrupt formal proceedings. But in this case, the suddenness of his departure mid-argument, with the plaintiff's counsel presenting her most important statements before a jury, was highly unusual and immediately called attention to courtroom dynamics and strategy. It raised serious questions. Was this an emotional reaction to the argument? Was it a deliberate political performance aimed at signaling defiance or victimization to his supporters? Or was it a legal misstep that might give the plaintiff and her legal team a tactical advantage with the jury? Experts have weighed in that dramatic courtroom exits can influence juror perception, potentially reinforcing or undermining credibility depending on how they are framed within legal strategy and media coverage. The judge's reaction, not shown in many news clips but reported in court transcripts, tells another part of this story. Judge Kaplan did not immediately sanction Trump for leaving, but his early remark to the courtroom was unambiguous and now part of the official record. The fact that a federal judge felt it necessary to interrupt proceedings solely to record Trump's exit speaks to how atypical the moment was. Observers also noted that this wasn't the first time Trump had strained courtroom norms during his various legal battles. Judges presiding in other cases have previously warned him about cursing audibly, interrupting testimony, and violating gag orders, a pattern that contributes to questions about how his behavior in court reflects his broader political messaging. Across multiple trials, judges have made explicit efforts to remind all parties that decorum is not optional, and Trump's repeated clashes with these mandates have shaped public perception in ways that extend beyond the legal merits of the cases themselves. At the end of the day, what does this mean for history, politics, and the upcoming election cycle? A courtroom exit like this doesn't happen in isolation, it becomes part of a much larger narrative. Supporters will argue that Trump's walkout is evidence of a politically motivated judicial system, while critics will see it as emblematic of a candidate unable to handle high-stakes scrutiny. Neutral observers might interpret it as a strategic choice calculated to energize his base while avoiding further courtroom tension. Whatever your perspective, this moment will be analyzed, debated, and cited in campaign ads, legal commentary, and media coverage for months to come. And right now, this case isn't finished. The jury is deliberating, and the outcome will have major implications for both Trump's legal liabilities and his public image as he campaigns for the presidency. So before we move on to more breaking developments, I want to ask you this. What do you think this exit means for Trump's legal strategy and his political future? Drop a comment with your thoughts, and if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe to us News Reality so you never miss our in-depth analysis of the world's biggest political stories. Thanks for watching, and goodbye.